Learn like a pro.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, let's talk about something you've probably seen a million times, but never really thought about. That gray box on the power pole, that's a transformer. And believe it or not, that humble little box is the secret key to powering, well, our entire planet. You see, the modern world, it runs on this invisible pulse. It's a rhythm of energy that powers pretty much everything you touch. But here's the catch. To get that power from where it's made all the way to your house, it has to go through one absolutely crucial device. And this is it, the transformer. Now, what it does feels a little bit like magic. It transfers energy using a totally invisible magnetic field. That process, it's called electromagnetic induction. And just look at this. There are no wires actually connecting those two coils. The energy is literally jumping across that empty space. Okay, so there's a catch, a really big one. For this whole thing to work, the electricity can't just be any electricity. It has to be special. It has to be alternating. And here's the reason why. If you use direct current, or DC, you get a static, boring magnetic field. It just sits there. Nothing happens. But if you use alternating current, or AC, that current is constantly flipping back and forth, and that creates a constantly changing magnetic field. It's like a magnetic heartbeat. That pulse is what actually pushes the energy across the gap and wakes up that second coil. So you can really think of it as a four-step dance. Step 1, your AC current makes that changing magnetic field. Step 2, the iron core in the middle grabs that field and concentrates it. Then, step 3, that moving field cuts right across the second coil and, boom, step 4, a brand new voltage and current pop into existence over there. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so this is where it gets really, really cool. This is how we actually control it. It all comes down to a super simple rule. The ratio of the wire loops on each coil. That little equation you see there, that's it. That's the secret sauce that lets us dial the voltage up or down with incredible precision. It's just elegant. So just by playing with how many loops of wire we use, we can create two different kinds of transformers. If you have more turns on the input side than the output, you get a step-down transformer that lowers the voltage to safe levels, for your house. But if you do the opposite, fewer turns on the input, more on the output, you get a step-up transformer. And that cranks the voltage way, way up for reasons that are going to be super important in just a minute. So you might be thinking, wow, is this thing perfectly efficient? And, well, not quite. In the real world, there's a sneaky little problem hiding right inside the transformer's core, and it wastes a ton of energy. Remember that awesome changing magnetic field we need? Well, it has this really annoying side effect. It actually creates these little parasitic swirls of electricity inside the iron core itself. They're called eddy currents, and they're the villains of this story. All they do is spin around, generate heat, and waste energy. But of course, engineers came up with a brilliant solution. It's so clever, they just sliced the iron core into a bunch of thin, insulated sheets. You see how that works? Those layers act like little roadblocks. They basically chop up the path for those eddy currents, so they can't form big, wasteful loops. It's such a simple fix, but it keeps the transformer cool and makes it super, super efficient. Okay, so now we've got our perfected, super efficient transformer. Now we can use it to tackle an even bigger challenge, the real challenge. How in the world do you send electricity across an entire country without losing most of it? This right here is where the transformer goes from a cool gadget to the absolute backbone of our modern world. Think about it. The number one enemy of any power grid is heat. Every wire has resistance, right? Just like the little wires in your toaster that glow red hot, while the massive cables stretching across the country do the same thing, just less dramatically. They heat up, and a frankly shocking amount of precious energy is just lost, wasted, bleeding out into the air. And physics tells us exactly who the culprit is. It's right here in this law. Now, the resistance R is part of the problem, sure, but the real villain, the real killer, it's the current, I. And you see that little 2 next to it? It's squared. That means the power loss grows exponentially with the current. Doubling the current doesn't double the loss, it quadruples it. It's a brutal piece of math. So if you're going to build a modern grid, the mission is crystal clear. You have to defeat that squaring effect. You have to find a way to get the I in that equation as low as humanly possible. So how do we do it? Well, the answer is a beautiful, simple trade-off. And this is where our hero, the step-up transformer, comes roaring back. See, power is just voltage times current. So if you want to deliver the same amount of power, but you need to drop the current way, way down, what do you have to do? You've got to crank the voltage way, way up. It's the only way. And just look at the difference this makes. It's insane. Try to send that power at a low voltage, say 200 volts, and you lose 2,500 watts. That's a quarter of your power just gone. Poof. But use one of our step-up transformers to boost it to 2,000 volts, your loss plummets to just 25 watts. That's not just better, that's a complete game changer. And this is the breakthrough. This is the big idea. Because of that nasty squaring effect we talked about, when you increase the voltage by 10 times, you don't cut the power loss by 10 times. No, you cut it by a factor of 100. That is the simple, beautiful math that made our entire global grid possible. And that one simple idea is what gives us the entire architecture of the modern grid. Everything you see, all those towers and lines, it's all built around this one principle we just uncovered. It's really a master plan in 4 steps. First, the power gets generated at a pretty normal, safe voltage. Then, step 2, a step-up transformer jacks that voltage up to insane levels, which slashes the current. Step 3, the energy zips across the country on high-voltage lines with almost zero loss. And then finally, step 4, right near your town, another transformer, a step-down one, brings the voltage back to a safe level just before it gets to your home. So if you remember one thing, remember this. We change the voltage to save the energy. That's it. The whole incredible, complex grid is really just a clever system for changing voltage up and then down again, all to beat that simple law of heat loss. The transformer is just such a perfect example, isn't it? It shows how getting a handle on one fundamental piece of physics can literally change the world and power the entire planet. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What other invisible principles are out there, just quietly shaping everything, waiting for us to figure them out?